Or
Okay, welcome to today's Administrative Land Use Authority. Today is July 28th, 2021. It's about 2:40 p.m. We're in the Providence City Office Building at 164 North Gateway Drive in Providence. This meeting is also streaming live on Providence City's YouTube channel. We have Max Pierce, our city engineer. I'm Scarlett Bankhead, the Administrative Services Director, and Rob Stapley is our Public Works Director. We also have Ryan Snow, our city manager, Ty Cameron, our city recorder, Diane Campbell, our land use specialist, April Fredrickson, our stormwater and code compliance specialist. And we have 3 items on our agenda. One of them is Providence Cities. One of them is Visionary Homes, and one of them is for JD Bar Construction. So, Ryan, do you want to represent us on Providence Cities? Do you have any questions?
I suppose I can. I think it was filed by Tara. I was going to throw her under the bus.
Well, she's going to come in and do her part.
I can go get her.
Okay. So while Ryan is getting Tara, we will hurry and do item number 2, because that won't take us very long. Providence City Administrative Land Use Authority will consider for approval a request by Visionary Homes for a new home located at 134 East, 520 North in Providence. It's Vineyard Lot 79. Diane, do you want to hurry and do the?
Okay, this application was received July 26th. Let's see, findings of fact. We look at Utah Code 109A507, which allows municipality to adopt a land use ordinance that includes conditional uses and provisions for conditional uses. Providence City Code conditional use permit states all requests for permits involving a lot, parcel, or site located wholly or partially within a hazard area needs to be dealt with a conditional use permit. And Providence City Code 1035 allows the city to impose reasonable conditions to mitigate the reasonably anticipated detrimental effects of the proposed use. Conclusions of law. Providence City has adopted land use ordinances that include conditional uses and provisions for those conditional uses. The GIS Cache County GIS parcel summary indicates that this lot contains wildfire and steep slope areas. Providence City has the authority to impose reasonable conditions to mitigate the detrimental effects, and the request meets the requirements of the codes listed in the findings of facts with the following conditions. The applicant will continue to meet all relevant federal, state, county, and Providence City rules, laws, codes, and ordinances. The applicant will mitigate fire hazard by conforming to requirements set forth by the local city deputy fire marshal Aaron Walker, and I did receive his letter this morning, and Scarlett has that right now. The steep slopes are well outside of the building area and will not be disturbed.
You just read the wrong thing.
Oh,
That's okay.
I'm reading the wrong one.
Tara's in here, so no, you're fine. Jessica, we'll just trade places.
Sorry.
So let me correct this.
Yeah,
for
I'm
the-
reading the whole thing.
Let me correct this for the minutes.
We're actually memorized for Diane later. I'll just recite it.
We are actually doing item number 1, which is Providence City's request for a fiber shelter located at 350 East Center in Providence. So Diane, do you want to finish with the?
Yeah, and this application was received July 21st, just to clarify. That's what happens when I bring too many papers up to the podium. This conditional use is for the fiber shelter only, as shown on the site plan, date stamped July 21st. And approval by the city of any application submitted or paperwork does not alleviate the city or their agents from their responsibility to understand and conform to local, state, and federal laws.
Okay. So for the city, we have Tara Bankhead. She is the administrative office assistant for Public Works. And we are, Kara, did you receive a copy of the staff report? Okay, do you have any questions about the staff report that Diane read, about any of the sensitive areas? Any comments that you want to make regarding that? Please speak at the mic, please. Nope, I'm good. All right. So do you want to just briefly give us a quick background on what the fiber shelter is for the record?
I can help you out as far as you go.
I would like to help you with that.
I knew her name was on the application, so we wanted her in here if it had to do with the application itself. So the fiber hut will be where all of the central fibers will come back to. And so this 12 by 12 building is kind of the brains of the fiber operation. It's a little important.
Yeah, very important. We don't usually see buildings that small because we don't usually have to issue a permit on buildings under 200 square feet. However, when they require either plumbing or electrical or gas, then they have to issue a permit. So then, because this is in a sensitive area, we get to see it as a conditional use. And this building will definitely have electrical in it, and I would assume it's going to be heated with gas.
I believe it might have a gas generator as well.
Natural gas.
So
Okay, all right. And Tara did fill out the application on behalf of the city. And in that application, we have the GIS parcel summary that Diane referred to. We also have the site plan, and we have the plans for the shelter itself. And it's actually being called a 12 by 12 by 9 Providence City Telecommunications Shelter. So that's its full name. Aaron Walker did do a review. The fire apparatus access is adequate. That's approved. Fire hydrants 143 located at the entrance of the building. It's within 400 feet of all areas around the structure, so that's approved. It appears to be approximately 138 square feet in size, and as such requires minimal water for fire flow. Hydrants in the area have been proven to have in excess of 3,000 gallons per minute at 20 psi, so that's approved. And then he reviews the Utah Wildland Urban Interface Code. The roofs shall have at least a Class A covering, Class C roof assembly, or an approved non-combustible roof covering. This is going to be, plans indicate a metal roof, and so that's approved. And then the unenclosed underfloor protection, the soffits are to be installed. The eaves shall be closed with the soffits, so that's approved. And then on the vents, any vents to combustible areas, or excuse me, to combustible construction areas shall contain mesh screen with openings no greater than 1/8 inch per building code, and that's approved. Do you have any questions about those there? Okay, all right. And as stated in the staff report, building is being located far enough away from any of the steep slopes, so it's definitely meeting the setbacks on that. Rob or Max, is there anything either of you want to add?
Nothing for me. I don't have anything.
April or Diane, anything? Brian, is there anything else you?
nope.
What about you, Kara?
If you would send me whatever papers I need, then I'll send them on to the county. We're just waiting on this.
Okay, all right. As soon as we're done here, Diane can get you the record of decision and then we can move forward. So, all right. With all of that being said, I would entertain a motion to approve Providence City's request for a fiber shelter located at 350 East Center in Providence.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Max Pierce,
I'll second it.
second by Rob Stapley. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Voting is unanimous. I will get to that.
Okay.
All righty. And just for the record, the way the law reads, Providence City has to abide to all the rules and regulations, and that's why we're in here with this request, just like anybody else would be. So now we can have Jessica come up and
I want to make sure that all the property lines get staked in the surveyor. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
go for it.
You're welcome to come and inspect.
I did notice that this is a cash home, which was
Yep.
on our
One of the
list,
newbies.
one of the new lists that got approved. The excuse me, the mitigation for this, the letter is included that from Dallas Nickel dated January 9th, 2020 regarding the land drain. The land drain is functioning and working. They've also included the window well drain detail for connection to that land drain. Max or Rob, do you have any comments on this one?
No.
April or Ryan or Diane?
I have a comment. I would just comment that the application was filled out on an old application form that we've updated, but I don't believe it has any effect on this. So
I didn't know you guys had updated it. I will download a new one.
In fact, April and I were just talking about that, but somebody else, another developer had come in and given us one on an older application. So
I just keep a
Yes.
template saved on my computer, so I'll download a new one.
figured
This
you
one's
did.
all-
That's why I was just
Yeah.
commenting that it's an older one and it's been
Usually,
updated. But
until the city tells me otherwise, I just keep going, and then they send me a new one. I go, okay, great.
so go online and get the new one. All
Done.
right. Thanks, Ryan. Anything else from anyone? Okay, having no further comments, I would entertain a motion to approve the request by Visionary Homes for a new home located at 134 East, 520 North in Providence, Vineyard Lot 79, based on the findings of fact and conditions and conclusions in the staff report.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Rob Stapley, second by Max Pierce. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Voting was unanimous. Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
See y'all in 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay, Mark, do you want to come up? And are these the homeowners you have back there behind you?
Yeah.
Okay,
I can get it.
all right, welcome. Did you get a copy of the staff report? And do you have any questions about it?
I get a copy of this. Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
I do.
and you have questions?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, we will take a short break because we can't act without three. Actually, Diane, you can read the staff report because Rob would have already had access to that one. Okay.
All right, this application was received July 22nd, and Rob inspected the infrastructure on July 27th. Aaron Walker reviewed the site and sent us a letter dated July 25th. The findings of fact are exactly the same as the first two items. Conclusions of law are the same, except for this parcel summary indicates the parcel is in a hazard wildfire, steep slope, landslide, and earthquake fault areas. Aaron Walker, like I said, reviewed the parcel in the interest of fire safety provisions and regulations, and we have his review letter, which was in the packet. Conditions. The applicant will continue to meet all relevant federal, state, county, and province city rules, laws, codes, and ordinances. The applicant will mitigate wildfire area, landslide, and steep slope areas by, we have the letter from Aaron Walker dated July 25th. We have a landslide study that was in the packet and it was dated July 14th. And the steep slopes are outside of the building and below and will not be disturbed. The fault line was excavated during the subdivision development and was concluded to possibly be further to the east. If it's found during excavation for the home, construction will be discontinued until the issue can be resolved. This conditional use is for the residents only as shown on the site plan, date stamped July 22nd. Approval by the city of any submitted application or paperwork does not alleviate the owners and or their agents from their responsibility to understand and conform to local, state, and federal laws.
Thanks, Diane. Mark, any questions or concerns with that? Do you, the Castros, have any questions or concerns? Okay, so this actually involves two lots, lots 24 and lot 25. They're using the building envelope on lot 25. That's where the residents will be. Dan, did you say this is for the residents only?
Yes, I think it is.
I think there's a detached garage too, isn't there?
There is,
Oh, okay.
but that'll be in the future at this point. We don't have engineering done. The architect just put this on the drawing for reference at this point.
Okay, so we're not doing we are just doing the residence right now, the home, not the detached garage.
Right.
Okay, all right.
The only reason I shouldn't do the garage. I mean, we're gonna get plans, I'm assuming.
Right, yeah, they're hopefully in process. We just don't have them. So we need to get moving on this project. I don't know, but does that mean I've got to start all over with the garage and do all this again?
Yep,
He has it shown on the site.
he does have it shown on the site plan.
Everything's passed and approved as if the garage were happening. We just don't have structural drawings to. So we could approve both of them and we'll try to get the structurals in for the permit application.
So I think
Does that work?
that would work. Did Aaron's letter include, he just looked at the residents, I think, didn't he?
I don't remember saying anything about the garage, but
So I think what we could do is we could approve the site plan, including the garage, subject to you providing the structural plans, which we don't
So did
see.
Aaron not say anything about that?
And
Garage, because I went over everything with Aaron, the site plan and the garage location.
I know you,
All the information he needed.
is his letter in here, Diane?
Yeah, it's in here, it's in the back.
On the very end. Oh. I didn't get
Is
that
the
one.
garage intended to be a accessory dwelling unit with it being, having water, gas, and power?
We'll go over to Aaron's letter really quick. So he's recommending the project for approval. He did have the site plan with the garage on it because that's the same thing we've all been working with. So he would have seen that. The apparatus access roads are within 150 feet of all portions of the structure and all portions of the exterior walls. So that's complete. The dead end fire apparatus access roads are in excess of 150 feet in length, shall be provided with an approved area for turning around. That's complete. The maximum grade of the fire department access road shall not exceed 12%. He's got that completed. The maximum grade of the turnaround shall not exceed 4%, and he has that completed. The existing Bonneville Shoreline Trail Deer Fence Trail also serves as a permanent emergency vehicle and wildland fire department access easement and must always be maintained usable as such. Any proposed fences or gates, fences, and or any other obstructions crossing this easement shall be approved by the fire department and Providence City prior to the installation, and that's been acknowledged. Excuse me, the fire access road shall be constructed of an wrong button, of an asphalt, concrete or other approved all-weather driving surface capable of supporting the imposed fire load apparatus weighing up to 75,000 pounds. The compaction testing will be required, and that's complete. The driveway will need to be graded and roughed in to allow for fire department response prior to combustible materials being delivered to the job site. That's been acknowledged. And then the address numbers are required to be in a conspicuous location at the entrance of the driveway. Numbers shall be at least 4 inches in height with 1 inch stroke and on contrasting background. And that's acknowledged. I think they need to be reflective too, but I don't see that he has that on there. But I know they need to have them reflective.
Is that similar to Cache County mixes, put a big sign? We don't have to do that. We can just have smaller numbers at the entrance of the drive, right? Can they be like on the curb, or do they have to be on a sign where the the house is so far?
All I've ever heard Aaron refer to on ours has been as long as it's a visible, reflective sign that's at the curbside or driveway entrance. I don't know that he's ever had any extra stipulations other than that. He's ran by us.
Other than the numbers need to be at least 4 inches in height and on a contrasting background. So,
That's pretty good.
all righty. And then on the fire hydrant locations and the number of hydrants, hydrant number 493 is located at the driveway entrance, is within 600 feet of all exterior areas of the proposed home. So that's approved. And then the water flow, the calculations, the fire flow calculation area shall be the total floor area of all floor levels within the exterior walls and under the horizontal projection of the roof of the building. And that was confirmed. It appears to be approximately 7,511 square feet in size, which would end up requiring 2,250 gallons per minute at 20 PSI. The fire flow requirements are subject to change due to separation of fire areas, type of construction, and the installation of a suppression system. Fire hydrant 493 is located at the entrance to the building lot within 600 feet of all exterior areas, and the proposed structure contains a water flow of approximately 910 gallons per minute at 20 PSI. 492, located across the street from lot 25, contains approximately 1,230 gallons per minute at 20 PSI, and hydrant 492 is within the distance of a supply hose carried on the engines, and as such may be considered. The homeowner has decided to use sprinklers as a means of mitigating or of meeting the fire flow requirements. And so the sprinkler system, with the installation of the approved sprinkler system, the required fire flow became 1,125 gallons per minute at 20 PSI. So that's approved. If the proposed separated garage is going to be for residential sleeping purposes, it must be reviewed as a separate dwelling unit and may require sprinklers.
So if you put the garage, do you think in that 7,500 square feet then? Because he talks about the garage there, but he doesn't.
I don't think he approved. I don't think he included it in the 7,500.
No, it's not in the 7,500.
With the fire flow reduction allowance for sprinklers, the amount of water available for fire flow is sufficient for this size and construction type, and so that's approved. Plans for the sprinkler system can be a delayed submittal and shall be reviewed by a third-party reviewer prior to being submitted to the fire department and prior to work beginning on the sprinkler system. Several on-site sprinkler system inspections and tests are required, and refer to Logan City webpage for an approved list of reviewers. And he's got the link in his letter for you. He also goes through the wildland urban interface code. He talks about the roof coverings. He says during a phone conversation with Mark Davis of JD Bar, Class A roofs covering and of asphalt shingles will be installed, so that's approved. During the phone conversation with Mark Davis, JD Bar, all combustible underfloor decks and eaves will be covered with soffits, and so that's approved. And in that same phone call, 1/8 mesh screen will be installed on all openings per the building code, and so that is approved. And then he reviews Providence City Code, Title 10, Chapter 5, for the wildland fire hazard. We have five bullet points there. We've already talked about 3 of them. We've talked about the roof. We suggest that, I'm glad the homeowners are here because then they'll hear what's in our code. These are strong suggestions. They're not mandatory. We don't come and inspect to see that you've inspected, but they are strong suggestions in a wildland fire area. We suggest you inspect your property regularly, cleaning dead wood and dense vegetation from at least 30 feet around your house, rake piles of leaves and twigs. If on a hill, more space will be needed to protect your home. A fuel break should be maintained around all structures. Move firewood away from the house or attachments like fences or decks. And then the other 3 we have covered because we've talked about the vents and about the access. Do you have any questions? Does anyone have any questions on any of that? Any comments?
I do. I guess, again, trying to decide whether the garage can be approved along with this. Is the garage going to be fire sprinkled?
No, Aaron just said if it's not, if it's not a dwelling, it didn't need to be.
Right.
The way I remember.
Yeah, that's what his note says. If the proposed garage is going to be used for residential sleeping purposes, it must be reviewed as a separate dwelling unit and may require sprinklers.
But yeah, I guess what I'm not clear about is whether he's approved the garage along with all of this. That's where I guess I'm confused. But I'm getting back to this idea, are we approving the garage or just?
Well, the garage was involved from the beginning, and I spent a lot of time with Aaron, and he refers to the garage, so he didn't have anything not approved, and he's talking about the garage in his report, so.
I would think though that since it's not clear, I know that Aaron had in fact, he had to look at it because part of the turnaround stuff involves the garage area.
Yeah, the concrete out in front of the garage.
So I realize he's looked at it, but I think we need to add a condition. If the gentleman on either side of me will want to agree to it, that would be great. I think we need to add a condition that we just verify with Aaron that the garage is, that he did look at the garage. If there's anything that he says is different, then you would have to meet whatever else he asked, but we'll verify with him that was included. I think we could probably approve the garage with that stipulation that we verify with Aaron. Have you acknowledged it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Fine with me.
Anybody have any concerns with that? Okay. So any other comments, Rob or Max?
You say they monitoring water in the garage?
I do believe the site plan shows a hose bib on the outside, but that'll be.
It says power, gas, water to the garage on the site plan.
Yeah, yeah, there is a hose bib, but there's nothing inside the garage. It's just as far as water goes.
But no drain, no sewer up to it. I don't know exactly where the 40 and 50 PSI line is based on what we have sitting here versus out in the field with where your footprint of that garage is going to go, but it's likely that that hose bed, if it gets put on that garage, is going to have extremely low water pressure. It may even be so low that it's almost pointless to do. So you might want to look at that elevation and what you've got for different line loss getting up there. It comes to pressures. That high in elevation, it's pushing the limits of that zone's ability. And the site plan, I don't know if anybody's mentioned it to you yet, but the site plan shows the water and sewer coming off of the lot 24, which can't be the way that goes down. There's actually water and sewer designated for lot 25 directly west of where the residence is getting set. And we'll have to utilize those services to go with that lot unless we get rid of that
Go
lot.
straight up the hill,
Correct.
up the steep. I mean, he shows the power going straight up, but he shows
Yep.
the sewer.
The water and sewer are both
going
right
up.
there also, and they go with that lot. So
Okay.
unless we get rid of that lot line, this lot 24 needs to have services for
Okay.
potential future, anything that might happen. Otherwise, we're stealing other lots. Dedicated services.
They do own both lots.
But they still need to utilize the water and sewer that go with the lot.
Unless they combine it
So,
into one
so if
lot,
we
right?
get rid of the boundary between and combine the lots, we can take come from either place.
Correct.
That would require an amended final plat to do that.
Alright.
So the other thing that it's kind of unrelated to the conditional use, but great information from the homeowners since they're here. When it comes to this driveway, I don't know what's going to have to take place for retaining walls and stuff to make that truly happen the way you're going to want it. But where it's going through lot 24's buildable envelope, that's going to potentially change the ability to ever build on that lot anyway, based on the fact that it's going right through the buildable envelope. So whether or not a house or structure can even ever fit on lot 24 based on where the driveway is getting put, just makes that lot interesting and need to look at it close.
Just the building area along the buildable area. Doesn't look like you could fit much on lot 24 anyway.
So putting a driveway through it likely hinders its ability to have a structure put on that lot. So maybe that lot line should just go, especially if for whatever reason, I don't know what that reason might be, but if you want to utilize those other services instead of those ones, maybe it's worth the time and effort. I don't know.
There's not really available access to lot 25 unless we use what we did, right? Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we could do an amended. I mean, if there's issues with it, I don't. The architect, when he did the site plan and showed the utilities coming up that drive, thought it would be better and easier to go on a more gradual slope and drop off that steep section with sewer, so.
Makes sense.
So at this point, can we get approved here and get zoning, and then we can work on a lot line adjustment if we need to with the county to bring the services up that other lot, or we need to. I mean, we can take them up straight up the hill if we need to. I don't want to set this back at all.
Yeah, I was looking at those when I was on site, and I think it's definitely doable to get a trench dug up there and make that direction work for it.
Okay.
So if it's a lot of hassle or money that we don't want to incur to go that line removal process, probably sufficient to go ahead and run with these existing services. But all it comes down to, the driveway and the future desires. There's just other variables that I'm not certain about that make you want to look at that close. Okay.
Yeah, we know when we bought it, that, that lot would be secondary to this one, so.
There wasn't a lot.
So on a water pressure note,
Yep.
where you are very minimal when it comes to, you start going up the hill and you've got line loss issue potential with your service lines. I'd be very careful and cautious with your landscaping and your design of your landscaping. It could be very tricky to get to work for what you want to do with grasses. I have a lot of zones and things like that where they have to run a long time and you won't like the water pressure for how many heads you have to have. There's a lot of different things when you start getting into areas like this. You want to take extra caution and look at it close.
Makes sense.
So Rob, would you be okay if they ran their services like this, like they've got shown, but because they own both lots and they are disrupting the buildable envelope on lot 24 with the driveway, with the understanding that if they chose to utilize lot 24 as a lot, they would have to change the services to lot 25?
Typically, yeah, it would really cause me a lot of heartburn. This one makes me a little bit worried about what happens in these types of landscaping situations to make that change at a later date. It might become almost infeasible when you start seeing the types of retaining walls and stuff that get built in these areas to do that at a later date.
Yeah, I think it can set a bad precedent to say that too, Scarlett, because yeah, right now it seems like it's pretty feasible, but like Rob said, in the future, you may have some pretty elaborate landscaping or vegetation in there that makes it cost prohibitive. And then you've got lot 24 that gets sold. They want to come in and tie into the street and add some more services because it's more.
Then we just end up with abandoned services that are very undesirable. They get lost, forgot about, and hit by lots of people.
Yeah, and yeah, it was.
Okay.
I personally would agree with Rob that you either ought to use those services on lot 25 for lot 25 or delete the lot line and just combine them in one lot.
A lot cleaner that way. Because we see,
You guys are fine combining the lots in
Yes.
one lot. Yeah, sure. We just don't want to hold this up.
That would hold it up.
All right, then let's say we'll take the services up from lot 25 and let's approve it. And then we can work on the lot line adjustment down the road before we bring any services in and then get that approved from you guys. Once we get
if you want to choose that.
a plat recorded that shows it as a single lot.
So then we would be approving this with a change on the services coming from the existing lot 25 services.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
The homeowners are very well aware of the wildfire easement that they have on that Hydrants trail. Okay. I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right. There, April, anything you want to mention? Ryan? Diane? Okay. Yeah, do you have any questions?
Oh,
Okay. All right. So that being said, I'd entertain a motion to approve the request by JD Bard Construction for Mike Castro for a new home located at 386 North, 850 East, based on the conclusions, or based on the findings of fact, conclusions, and conditions in the staff report, with the additional conditions that the garage is shown on the site plan, and as long as Aaron Walker, we verify that Aaron Walker acknowledged that his comments apply as if the garage is being considered, It's in one of his comments, but it's not clear that it was involved in all of them. So we need to verify Aaron Walker's comments on the garage. And the services will be utilize lots 24 or lots 25 services. So it won't, the services shown use lot 24 service. That's not going to happen. They're going to use lot 25 services unless they combine the two lots, go through the process to combine the two lots into one, which would be amending a final plat. That sound right to you guys?
Sounds good. I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Motion by Rob Stapley, second by Max Pierce. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Voting was unanimous. So Diane will get that written up on the record of decision. She'll have you come in and pay your impact fees and connection fees and whatnot. And then you can take that on to the county and get your building permit process started.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our agenda items. Unless there's anything that anybody has that they feel like we should put on a future agenda that they want to make a comment about, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion by Max Pierce, second by Rob Stapley. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Our meeting is adjourned at approximately 3:20. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance.